This episode of the Good Living Now podcast is sponsored by our friends at Kuvings. Now, I've had almost every brand of juicer on the market since I started my healing journey in 2015. But the Kuvings Auto 10 has been a complete game changer. It's easy to use and easy to clean. Plus, I'm able to make smoothies as well as sorbets and plant-based milk. So use my code JUICEGUY and save 10%. All right, you know what to do. Get your juice on.
So we're live from the Juicing for Health tour here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And man, yeah! And so I have an incredible young man here that's going to share his journey. He's a former MMA fighter, so don't mess with him if you don't play. And he used to work for places like BET, but now he's a vegan chef. And several years ago, actually, he was given 6 months to live. And at the time, he was a single parent to two little daughters. And as you can see, he is still here, thriving and living well. And he's here to share with us his story and to help us understand his whole healing journey. So welcome to the show, the Good Living Now podcast, Shaka Zulu. So, Shaka Zulu, so I first saw your video and heard your story where you were sharing that the doctors had given you 6 months to live after you had gotten a cancer diagnosis. Take us back to that time, and when was that?
Okay, so my first diagnosis was in 2017. I was having excruciating pains in my back, and my hips, just in my lower legs, and I was going through just stress from that, not understanding where it's coming from, why it's happening. And at the time I was training for a fight as well, so I was like, signed contracts already, I gotta fulfill these agreements as well. So I'm under that stress. I got the two daughters, I don't got no help at the time, so it's just me. And I was using MMA as like my healing from being a single parent. That was my outlet of that anger from going through all of that. And I was using that. So then that failed on me. And I'm like, where do I go from here?
Right.
And so I went to the doctor finally after like 3 months of dealing with pain and not understanding what's going on and trying to figure it out myself. Stopped working out and then it got worse. And so that's when I went to the hospital and they couldn't figure out what it was for a while. And so like 3 months later, they called me back after x-rays, MRIs, after blood tests, after so many blood tests. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So they call me, they tell me we got to send you to a specialist, take these x-rays, take the MRIs, go here, and then see a specialist in Loma Linda. I lived in LA at the time. So I went to Loma Linda, which is like San Bernardino, California. I go there and they tell me, they just did the test. I go home. I had to take an Uber to the test because I didn't want my family to know, and I was in so much pain. Like I had to use a cane, a wheel. I was using my uncle's. I was taking it from him, using it so I can get around in the house, so I can get around without people knowing that I'm even going through anything. Because I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. Right. I didn't want nobody to make me feel like I'm less of a person, like I'm less of who I am. And so it was mentally challenging the most part for me because just hearing that, not understanding what's going on with your body and always being able to have control of your body. Right. Being an athlete, you got to be mentally tough, you got to be mentally sound, and you got to be built for it. And I wasn't built for that pain. I wasn't built for that type of pain. I thought I was. So I started taking everything. I started taking other people's stuff, because I didn't want to go to the doctor. I didn't want to tell nobody I was going through nothing. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to understand it first.
So the pain lasted for months?
It was months. And I had my cousin come give me steroid shots. And that's when I was able to get up a little bit more and start moving a little bit more. I was able to have to go, I was crawling to the bathroom. Right. I was going through the pain so bad that it was like, what is next? So I went there and they finally called me back. They had to talk me into coming back because I was like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want nothing. And they're like, no, we can't talk about it over the phone. We got to do this in person. So when I get there,
did they ever tell you that they thought you might have?
They told me with the MRIs that I had spots on my spine, on my lower spine, and they didn't know what it is, so they wanted me to go to the specialist. So when I get to the specialist, I did the test, blood test. They go through the MRIs, talk to me about it, and they had a whole plan set. Immediately when I got there, when they got there, they were talking to me about this is what it is, and this is what it's gonna be, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna go through it. He already had a whole program already set up, and I'm just like, I'm still processing. I'm still trying to go through the whole situation, understanding. I'm still in the understanding stage of everything.
Right.
What am I going through? What are my challenges? How do I beat this?
Right.
And so once they tell me, oh, it's multiple melanoma, and we gotta immediately do surgery, or we gotta immediately do something. We gotta give you chemo. We gotta do tag with it. I'm like, I don't want to do nothing right now. I just want to go home.
Right.
And so when I got home, I just I broke down. I cried. I screamed. I hollered. I did everything, man. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to tell nobody. I just wanted to end it. I just wanted it all over. I just wanted to be like, you know what? I'm tired of hiding from people. I'm tired of fighting this. This is the worst I ever felt in my life. And so I went back to the test, and they started giving me the pills. They started taking more blood. And I'm drained at this point. I'm drained. The chemo pills that they give me, because I wasn't trying to do any type of surgeries or anything like that. I was against all that from jump. And so they immediately peel this, chemo pills, this. I'm taking pill after pill, and I'm getting worse. I'm not getting any better from the things that they're giving me. So I'm like, why am I doing any of this?
Right.
And I'm just at home, and I'm still mentally like, what is the process? What is the purpose behind it? What is going? And I didn't understand it. So I just started doing my research. The only thing I knew was get on the internet, try to find other people that go through it, try to find. And I found people.
Yeah.
And that was the most eye-shocking thing to me, was finding other people that was going through the same thing I was going through. And I started understanding what they did and how they did it. I started just trying what they did. I started trying. And I was still taking the pills, and I was still taking the steroids too, because that was the only reason why I was able not to have the pain in the hip area, and I was able to be a little bit more mobile. And when I got mobile, I was like, I don't ever want to sit down again. And I started understanding the technologies of the body. I came across the technologies of the body and how it's a spaceship, and how you need to be the only mechanic that works on your spaceship. You spend the most time with it, so you need to understand it more than anybody else, because you can't do nothing without it. And so once I got that understanding, and I beat myself over the head with that every night, listen to the videos, listen to the tape, watching it, and just keep diving down the rabbit hole. I'm going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, finding different treatments. I found urine therapy. I've seen veganism. I've seen plant-based. I've seen all of it. So I'm just like, where do I start? I didn't know where to start either. So I just tried everything. I just did it all. First thing I did was I started eliminating things, because I understood from the technology of the body came here perfect. And it could naturally heal. I didn't got cuts and stuff. It naturally healed itself when I didn't have to do anything. Even a broken bone, you wouldn't have got to do nothing but wrap it.
Right.
And so I understood it. My body can heal itself. I just got to put the proper things inside of it to speed it up and to get it there so that it stays there. And so what I did was I understood the hair root plexus, the fingernails, all of it, the skin, melanin, grounding, the nodes. These are here in your hand. This is called a node. The bottom of these are nodes, and you use those to connect to the earth, to connect to God. And I didn't understand it. That's why you got tree huggers. You got people who go ground. They take their shoes off. Rubber insulates you so you can't connect with God. So when you understand that this is God, how do you connect with it? And I had to understand how to connect with myself, because I was disconnected. Because everything out here that they taught me to go against me. And it taught me to only give love to everything outside of me. And once I understood that I got to take all that power back and give it back to myself, that's when I learned that that's where the healing is at. It's not in the chemicals. It's not in the plants. It's all mental. And when I understood that, I went to the mental game. And I said, I'm going to beat everything and everyone and everything that I could possibly come to mentally before I do anything else. And then I started taking the food, because I know that I started doing the juicing, the plant-based. I went to just straight raw vegan after a while. I was like, I'm not going to eat nothing. Then I seen breatharianism too, and I ran into that, and I was like, I'm about to eat air. And I got to the point where it was like, I don't want to eat nothing, because I understand what a chemical was.
Right.
And I understand why they call things poison, because it's chemicals. It's a chemical. That's what makes it a poison. If something is a poison, that means it has chemicals in it. Right. So if your food has chemicals in it, it has poison in it. Right. So at some point, it's killing you. Even if it's slow, it's still a death at the end of it all. So at the end of the day, it's like, why am I putting death in my body when I'm supposed to be an organic being?
You said something real powerful I don't want us to miss. And you were saying how you were loving other people, but you weren't loving yourself.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's an important part of healing that we don't talk enough about. And so many people, particularly women, love everybody else and put themselves last and to their detriment. And it's so important that we fill our own cup up first before we, try to help somebody else. Talk a little bit about that.
So for me, it was being a parent, learning how to be a parent. And I realized I was facilitating everybody else's needs. Making sure she had everything she needed, they had everything they need. And I was the work for that. I was the workforce behind all that. And I never gave that energy back to myself. So I had to remove all of them at some point. I had to remove everything that was taken from me that was not replenishing me. Even the kids at some point, I had to walk away. I had to isolate myself. I isolated myself in a tent for 3 months. And I was going around in different places, wherever I could hide it in my tent. I found it out and I just put my tent there and I sit in my tent and I read. I'll be on my phone researching because everybody around me was against healing. They were talking about, you need the plant, you need protein. What are you gonna do for protein? I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point, but I know what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna do what I've already been doing. The thing that I've already done, I was 30 something at the time, 33 I think at that time. I'm not gonna keep eating the meats. I'm not gonna keep eating the cheese. I've already done it for 30 years. So why would I keep doing the same thing and getting this? I'm gonna get the same results. So that I understood that immediately. A lot of things kicked in immediately once I took this step and I said, I'm going on this side. Because over here, everything was death. The whole lifestyle I was living was death. I was coming from hip hop to being in the industry, behind the camera, in front of the camera. It was all death. It was a lot more too. But it was demonic. I was in the demonic. I come from a Christian background, so it was the whole demonic atmosphere and all of that. And being a clean cell in a dirty environment, eventually you'll get dirty. So I had to remove myself from that as well. And I walked away from Black Panther 1 and 2. A lot of people, I had casting roles for those, And I walked away like, I don't care about none of this. At the end of the day, I had to put me first. And I had to understand that putting me first eliminated so much stress. Because I didn't have to feel like I had to be baby Jesus to everybody. I was tired of being the provider for everybody, and then I can't go to my baby mama and get nothing. I can't go to the kids and get nothing yet. I'm like, I don't know if these are bad investments or what. And I had to start understanding investments, and it taught me a business sense of mind. Is everything we do has to have some type of return and value for you. If not, you're wasting. That's a bad investment. Yes. If your food that you're eating does not bring you health, and you have to still go pay a doctor and pay insurance, you should not have insurance if you're eating healthy. That's a whole nother topic. You know what I'm saying? But and as you just find out a lot of things diving down that rabbit hole when you really put yourself first, and you'll realize how much of everything is taken from you, and you'll realize where it's coming from. And once you get to the source of it all, then you'll realize the game that you're playing. And when you understand the game, now you understand the pieces and how you maneuver in the game. A lot of us don't understand the game we play because we're trying to be parents. We're trying to be families, and we in an environment. Our petri dish is not developed for that. Our petri dish is developed for work. It's not developed for family. It's not developed for that, and we got to understand that. That's why a lot of people come here and then they hate it here. They come here because they come from Mexico. They come from Africa, and they're like, we are more family based. You guys are all about work. And so when I was like, I need to be around that type of environment because that's where the healing is at for me. Is I need to be somewhere where I don't have to be focused on work, where I could be focused. The work is me. The work is me being mentally and physically sound enough to be able to develop something, nurture something, because that's what it is. You have to understand how to nurture yourself back to health. It takes time because it took you 30, 40, 50 years to unconnect yourself. And it might take you that long to reconnect yourself. So you got to start immediately, and you got to do it with a sense of urgency, because if not, you don't never know. Today could be the last day. This could be our last conversation. So you don't got no time to waste. And you think that because you're skinny that you help, that's not it. People think, oh, I'm skinny, I'm good. Oh, no. I had high blood pressure. I had lupus too. I had all that, and I had to beat all that before I even found out I had multiple myeloma. So, and all that in the process of being a parent and having to go take them to school. You got Wednesdays, they got early days. You got to be at work full time. How do you manage all that? That's so much stress, and we don't understand that stress is one of the biggest killers in our community. More than anything else, the human body can sustain all the food we eat and all that. It's the stress, the chemicals that we're signals that we're sending to our cells that they're connecting. That there's a disconnection in it because of the chemical imbalance.
That's so true. That is so true. And we don't talk enough about that because many of us are living under chronic stress. We wake up worried, go to sleep worried, just always worried, worried, worried. And what that does is it releases cortisol in our system. And that's the stress hormone. And that weakens our immune system. And so that makes us susceptible to all kind of ailments, you know. But one of the things you did was you moved to Mexico when you were diagnosed, and you ate nothing but fruit and drank coconut water. Tell us about that.
It was horrible. It was a challenge, I'm gonna tell you that. But what we did was we tented up on the beach. We found a beach in a city called Puerto Rista, Mexico, and me and my wife and a few other friends. My wife was pregnant at the time. We had just found out. We were like, we don't care, we're going. And we went, and we had a group of us. We all tented up on the beach, and we stayed on that beach for weeks, climbing trees, collecting coconuts, and that was our food. And that's what we did. And then after that, we just continued that process everywhere we went. We didn't eat nothing else. It was just fruit, coconuts, and then the juice. You eat the jelly from it. You get the soft green coconuts. They got that jelly, and you just eat that every morning. Mix it with a lime, and then you get in that water. You clean the outside, the coconut and the lime, clean the inside. You fully cleanse. After that, the salt. You need to get in that ocean. The salt water is key too, because it has all the vitamins. That's where the sea moss is coming from. All your algae is coming from there. So if your body, the skin is the biggest absorber. So you get in that water, and you got to watch the water that y'all drinking and eating out here too, because the water is important. We are 75 to 80% water, so you got to know that your foods have to be whole foods. That's why if she's talking about the seeds in the food, that means it has masculine and feminine energy. That means it has both, and it could regenerate itself. If it doesn't have seeds in it, that means it's only a feminine plant. That means it cannot regenerate itself. So it's not giving you any life. It's only taken away from you. That's what causes aging. Same thing with all the food you eat. Your body has to reproduce it in order to understand what it is as a whole food. You eat a pizza, it doesn't know what a pizza is. So it breaks it all the way down to its lowest form. And it strips your teeth, your everything. That's why your kids lose their teeth when they're eating sugar and candy. Because it's stripping their minerals and vitamins from just to recreate, just so they can absorb it back into the body. So everything you do takes away from you if it's not a whole food. So that's why they have whole foods, but it's not all whole foods in there. So that's why I went to Mexico. I went there and I got the best plants because there's no chemicals. They don't even allow it there. It's illegal. We're one of the only countries that allow chemicals to be in our food. And so when you go to these other, they can't even afford it. So the chicken clean, everything clean. The fish is cleaner. I'd rather you eat the meat from over there. I'm not against meat. I'm against imbalance and chemicals. I'm against poisoning our people through food. They're poisoning our water. So I'm against all that. So those are the reason why I went to Mexico, and I wanted to try somewhere else, because not only that, we're the only people that don't got our own homeland. Chinese can go to China when they get back here. Asians can go to Asia. Mexicans can go. Where are we going as African Americans? We're not African, and they tell us we ain't Americans. So where we go? We stuck here. We're the only ones stuck here. So I needed to find somewhere for me and my people to be safe, because at the end of the day, protecting this is my number one asset. Protecting them is my number one asset, because without people, we ain't got nothing. And so I just started developing people. And I was the first person I developed was myself.
So when did you know that the things you were doing was working? When did your body start to heal? When did the pain go away? When did the cancer was no longer there? How long was that process?
It's an ongoing process. I'm gonna say that because I still get pain sometimes in my lower back. I just went through it. I had pain again for about 3 months. I didn't know what it was, and they were like, "Oh, it's a lumbar." They still don't know that. So it's an ongoing. I just say stay healthy as possible and eat and keep a balanced life. Keep a balanced life. If you're gonna eat meat for 10 days, then take 10 days off of meat. You know what I'm saying? Keep a balance in everything that you do. You don't have to go without, but sometimes you got to remove things that have been placed on you because it's not of you. It's of the system. And you got to remove the system from you in order to take your organs back. You got to. Why do I talk the way that I talk? Why do I walk the way that I walk? And then you understand genetics, and you get into epigenetics, and you start to understand that nothing is genetic. It's all about what Harold said, the environment. And the environment that you're based in is your petri dish. And whatever is placed in that petri dish, it's affected by the environment. And so we're affected by our environment more than we're affected by anything else. Because our environment teaches you to go against yourself. It teaches you everything about nothing, teaches you nothing about knowledge yourself. And that's the one thing I had to teach myself. And that's the one thing I'm teaching my kids now, right now, so that when they come in, they portal in, they understand who they are, and then they'll get to their purpose a lot faster. 15, 16, they'll get their purpose. And they'll be activated in their purpose and be able to walk in their purpose for the next 30 years. So they'll have my knowledge when they're 15. They'll be able to walk in a 50 or 40-year-old. I'm 41. I just turned 4. I'm a Gemini as well. Makes me.
Oh, Gemini.
And you know, we the voice of the future. We the voice of the future.
Look at 25.
Man,
25.
I had to take my organs back. I had to take all my organs back. And I had to treat my body as a whole being and not just in aspects. And not just healing one aspect of the body, but healing the body as a whole. And once you guys are all asking about different aspects of the body, how to heal it, you heal it as a whole being.
Yes.
And then you heal everything in it. Then you don't got to worry about if I got high blood pressure, if I got hypertension, if I got this, if I got that. You heal the body as a whole being. You don't got to worry about what you're going to have, because you ain't going to have nothing. And it's all about what you put in it, because this is the first place that it comes through. That's why if you take a shot from a doctor, it's bypassing your system, your immune system. That's why you get affected from the shots, because it bypasses your immune system. I'm talking about stuff.
One more question. No more questions?
Mr. Shaka Zulu, we got the same type of cancer. So overall, I know you went to Mexico for several months and you just drank coconut water and ate fruits. So did that possibly heal your cancer?
I think it was an aspect of it. I don't think it was the total end all be all. I couldn't tell you what the number one thing was. I just tried everything. And I just made sure that I understood what I was doing. I didn't mix a lot of fruits and vegetables. I just stuck to certain ones. Because, you know, I didn't want to understand, like, if I'm mixing things, and I got to remove those again. And the whole purpose for me was to remove everything, to start fresh, to get back to where I first came in. And I got to that point where I watched every pool, how it changed, how it transitioned all the way down to the leaves. You know, and it's just leaves. When you get to the end of it, it's leaves. It's just leaves, and it's soil. You no longer look at it as poop either. And you know, it's something different. You know, it's the same thing that animals do for us. It's to fertilize. It's here to compost. You compost it. You know, when it's right, when you're right. We just got to get right as a people. You know, it takes knowledge yourself.
I have a question.
Yep. One more question.
Just one. Only because, like how you said you went to Mexico, everyone can't actually just go to Mexico for 3 months, you know, because they have a living. Like, what would you suggest being here? Because I'm plant-based, but since I've been here for 3 years, like, it's been hard for me.
It's hard.
I'm underweight
The
right now. I'm
seeds is
115
hard.
just because
Yeah.
I don't want to put certain things in my body because I know it's not good for me. So I would probably try fast for most of the day for, you know, so as for him, or even just for me, like, what would you recommend? Because, you know, they say you want to go organic, and, you know, nowadays,
I mean, even organic
is not really
there you
organic.
go.
So, like, what would you, like, recommend for that? Because
I say do what you can do in your environment, what you can do, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't go try to do something you can't.
Right.
It's gonna put you in a situation that's gonna make you stressed out more. You wanna be at peace. You wanna find peace in this journey. So whatever it takes to find peace, you need to do it. I suggest if it takes the trip to Mexico, listen, I'll take that trip. I don't care. Like, what's more important to you? Because without your health, what do you have?
You don't have nothing.
You don't got nothing. You can't do nothing. You can't be a beneficiary for nobody. So if you don't heal yourself and you don't do what's necessary for you, how you gonna teach your kids how to do anything? You're a bad influence to them, really. And I had to understand that part of the journey too. I've been a bad influence for a long time because everybody's been looking up to me and these kids that I brought into this world. And I've been eating wrong, and I've been drinking, and I've been smoking, and I did all these things. And now I'm passing down that's the generational curse. That's the generational things that we're passing down. It's the bad habits. Yeah. We change the mindset and we switch the habits. We change our children.
Yes.
And then you gotta spend time with them too. A lot of times we out and we away from our kids. I have to understand that. That's another reason I went to Mexico. It let me be with my family. It let me spend more, because that's when I lost all my relationships. I'm too busy. And we don't got no connection. And in order to have a connection, you gotta spend time with it. You gotta understand it. And then this is my first business with my family. I made my first business with my family. And how do I organize each person in my family that I brought into here and I put them to work. I got to know their strengths, their weaknesses. I got to know how to move, how to utilize them to the best of their abilities. So I got to understand them as well as myself. And I had to build my team and build my family up in that as well. And so I say just build yourself and do what's necessary. Because it's not about what you want, it's about what's necessary for the journey.
Yes.
You said, what's more important than you? Yeah, that's the key point. What's more important than you? Finally, Shaka Zulu, let people know how they can find you. You have several businesses, I think. Tell folks how they can find you and what you do.
Okay, so me and my wife, we started a vegan company in Mexico, in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And we do it like a ghost kitchen, where it's just deliveries on, and we just cater to the tourists. And that was one business we started, Zulu's Vegan Cooking. It's on Instagram, YouTube, everything. TikTok, then I'm Shaka Zulu, Shaka.Zulu on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of that. And you can find me also on Zulu Vision TV. We got our own TV network. And we launched our first show with Charleston White and Prince Stella Clark. And we did numbers, we hit millions. You know? And that was my first time doing the podcast, did my own podcast. And I did millions in the first 3 months. On TikTok, on every social media, I hit millions. And I wouldn't even try it. It was just something we did in our garage. I just paid a couple people to come by. And that's how y'all was able to see me today. I was just trying different things, man, and experimenting with my talents. I utilized my talents and I put that to use because that's what freed me from having to be a 9-to-5. I utilized my intellectual property, so I took music, I took art. My wife does paintings now, so I started painting. I'm like, cause that's valuable, man. I didn't know you could put that in the trust and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, we doing it all. And you just understanding generational wealth, and you understand like you and your peoples is the foundation of it. Without your people being here and being healthy, you don't have there's no need for no generational wealth. Because you ain't gonna have no generation.
That's true. So y'all give it up
Oh, yeah.
to Shaka Zulu.